everyone, this is Maki. Episode 5 of GQuuuuuuX has been released. It was packed with fascinating elements that really caught my attention. I'm going to split my analysis into a few parts to cover everything properly. Today, let's take a look at some of the elements that could end up affecting the whole story. I'm also going to show you some illustrations that have been released by the creators. Just a heads up, I'll be discussing spoilers for episode 5. There will also be spoilers for the movie beginning. Now, let me make a quick announcement. My channel is currently accepting supporters through the membership program. For just 99 cents a month, you can get a name badge and special comment stamps. Alright, let's get into the details. Let's start with this illustration by Miss Toke, the character designer. This is Shiko Sugai, a key character in episode 4. As you all saw, she lost her life in the battle against the Red Gundam. Miss Toke released this artwork on the same day that episode 5 was released. This is just my personal guess, but I think she wanted to draw Shiko while being careful not to spoil the story for the fans. The artwork gives a strong impression of Shiko losing her life. If fans had seen this before watching episode 4, it would probably have spoiled a big part of the story for them. The white lilies really stand out. In Japan, lilies are often used with different meanings. They usually represent purity and dignity. Shiko's gentle affection for children really brings out that sense of purity. And her determination to defeat a powerful enemy as an ace pilot gives a clear sense of dignity. However, lilies can also carry the meaning of an offering to the dead. With this interpretation in mind, the overall tone of the artwork may feel quite different. However, when lilies are meant as offerings to the dead, it's usually expressed through the act of offering a single lily. In other words, seeing multiple lilies together can also be interpreted as not being a symbol of a memorial offering. The red color painted on the leaves is also striking. It's a piece where Miss Toke's aesthetic sense as a character designer really shines through. She didn't add any comments when she posted the artwork. She left it up to each fan to interpret it as they wish. Now here's a surprise. Every time a new episode of GQuuuuuuX drops, a new gunpla is announced almost immediately. Gunpla are products that require a ton of steps to complete. From design and revisions to the creation of metal molds to mold plastic parts, it's a massive process. This means that GQuuuuuuX must have been in production with a detailed plan long before the anime ever aired. The price is around $25. It's scheduled for release in Japan this September. Keep in mind that the price may fluctuate depending on the exchange rate. And considering how quickly these gunpla announcements are coming, some fans have begun to wonder, could GQuuuuuuX be longer than just 12 episodes? Of course, I have to admit that this is partly wishful thinking on my part. However, the GQuuuuuuX page on Amazon says Season 1. If that's not a mistake, then that would mean that GQuuuuuuX is planned for multiple seasons. So, what's the next gunpla release? In episode 5, Shalebu mentions we may need the Kikeroga. Kikeroga is the mobile armor that Charlotte piloted in the beginning. Mobile armors don't get as many gunpla releases as mobile suits, but they are definitely a popular category. And Shalebu is an important character in the story. Could Kikeroga be the next gunpla? Another thing I'm curious about is the purpose of Shara boarding the Kikeroga. Since it's a mobile armor, it doesn't have a head. This raises a question: can it even participate in a clan battle where the rule is destroy the head to win? Would they maybe add a horn-shaped antenna or something and declare this is the head to make it eligible? Or maybe Kikeroga is used for something completely separate from clan battle. It seems a little overpowered for that considering how heavily armed it is with powerful beam cannons. In beginning, it destroyed several mobile suits and even battleships with a single beam. I'm really excited to see what Shala and Kikeroga bring to the story. Next up is Nyaan's battle. A lot of fans were probably surprised that Nyaan was able to control the GQuuuuuuX. Not only that, she even managed to activate the Omega Cyclone U. There's a common trope in Robot Annie where a supporting character, inspired by the actions of the protagonist, tries to pilot the main robot but fails. This type of scene is often used to emphasize how special the main character really is. Even in the Gundam series, we've seen this kind of narrative device used before. I bet a lot of fans were reminded of similar moments from past series. Because of that, a lot of people probably assumed that Nyaan would struggle. And while she did struggle, at the beginning of the clan battle, once she activated the Omega Cyclone U, she proved herself to be a remarkably skilled pilot. On top of that, she also witnessed that mysterious space that only new types can usually see. Does this mean that Nyaan is also a new type? But there wasn't that lightning-like glow on her forehead that we've seen in others. There was also a strange display on the screen when the Omega Cyclone U activated. Since it's full of abbreviations, we can't say for sure what it means. Could the name L stand for normal? If that's the case, it suggests that the GQuuuuuuX may have some hidden abilities. Also, some people may wonder how Nyaan even knew how to fly a mobile suit. While the anime doesn't go into it, both the official website and the beginning movie brochure mention that she once escaped from her war-torn hometown by piloting a petty mobile suit. A petty mobile suit is basically a humanoid machine used for work. They can even be armed and used in combat by military forces. It seems that the control system is quite similar to that of a full-size mobile suit. The scene where Ixubi talks to someone who appears to be a Zeon spy really made an impression. It's a moment very much like something from War in the Pocket. The spy refers to Kisilia Zabi with a respectful title. This suggests that this person is probably a Kisilia-aligned spy, meaning someone who opposes Garen Zabi. He also told Ixubi, "You're far too kind to humans." Could Ixubi himself be a spy sent by Kisilia? That would be very similar to how Sharabu was positioned as a spy sent by Garen to Kisilia. There's even a scene where Kamui wonders in her inner monologue, was Ixubi sent on a solo mission just to get rid of someone troublesome? Whether he's a spy or not is unclear, but it seems certain that Ixubi is involved in some kind of significant internal power struggle. Now, the final scene really grabs your attention. The moment when Nyaan appears in front of Amate and pilots the GQuuuuuuX. This scene looks very similar to a previously released image illustration. It's particularly striking how their roles seem to be reversed. What thoughts did this visual contrast spark for you? Director Tsurumaki once said one of the main themes of GQuuuuuuX is real versus fake. By the way, do you remember the title of episode 5? It was Nyaan doesn't know about the Kikeroga. The Kikeroga refers to the mystical light scenery that the new types witnessed. But what actually happened was the opposite of the title. Nyaan saw the Kikeroga. Amate had believed I am the only one who can see the Kikeroga with Shuji. So maybe this episode title isn't meant to reflect what happens in the story, but rather it's a reflection of Amate's wishful thinking. It's her wish, but the reality ends up going in a completely different direction. It fits perfectly with the theme of real versus fake that Maki mentioned. Of course, that's just my personal interpretation. What did you think of the final scene, or the title of episode 5? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Finally, let's talk about the teaser trailer. It reveals that someone has discovered the place where Shuji is hiding. Who is the person holding the photo of Shuji's front door? The painted nails clearly belong to Anki. At the beginning of episode 5, we saw a scene where Anki was relaxing with Amate. In that scene, her nails were clearly painted for the viewers to see. So even in the preview they were hinting that this hand belongs to Anki. But who actually took the picture? The easiest guess would be Haro. So who is Anki showing the photo to? When she saw the Omega Cycle for the first time, her expression changed a bit. It's quite possible that she has some knowledge of Xeon technology. If that's the case, could she be showing the photo to Shalibu? The title of episode 6 is the Kisilia assassination plot. Does this mean that the plot to assassinate Kisilia begins in this episode? Or will Shah's actions in the beginning be depicted as a flashback? Shah carried out his plan to intentionally fail to thwart the Earth Federation forces attack in order to kill Kisilia. There's just so much to be curious about. I'll continue to dive into more analysis of episode 5. So I hope you're looking forward to it. Thanks for watching all the way through. See you in the next episode.